I legitimately wasn't even going to pay any attention to Colin Cowherd today. I was preparing to live call the Chicago Sky game. By the way, pull up for the live call. We'll be getting that in about an hour. But then I heard Colin Cowherd's comments on the Chicago Bears and should they trade Roquan Smith and how this franchise has never had a wide receiver that you can call great. And when you disrespect my franchise, then I have to talk to you. Then we got to have a conversation. So, Colin, with the Breeze Nation here with me, I'm talking to you. Now, if you are new to the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Bears, how Bears talk, so make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So here's the thing. Colin Cowherd wants to call out the Chicago Bears, essentially, for not helping Justin Fields, and he wants to say that to help Justin Fields, you trade Roquan Smith. I'm not even opposed to the idea of trading Roquan Smith. I'm really not. I'm not even opposed to the idea of moving on from Roquan Smith. But see, when you talk to these out-of-market guys, when you talk to these guys who are not watching the team on a daily basis, they speak from a place of ignorance. Because in his mind, the place where the Chicago Bears have failed in history is that you can't name a great Chicago Bears wide receiver. It's not the issue there, because I can name great Chicago Bears wide receivers. Allen Robinson was pretty great while he was here, had a 1,000-yard season with terrible quarterback play. Brandon Marshall was pretty great while he was here. I can name you great Chicago Bears wide receiver play. What I can't name you is great offensive line play over a consistent basis for the Chicago Bears. And so, again, I can get on board for a Roquan Smith trade, but my question to you, Colin, is what are the Chicago Bears to trade Roquan Smith for? Because in your mind, right, he compares it to the Golden State Warriors trading Monte Ellis, and that's what sparked all the championship runs. No, what sparked all the championship runs, Colin, is the fact that Klay Thompson was a part of that team, was the fact that Draymond Green became a part of that team, and that became your core. Oh, by the way, that they moved on from Mark Jackson, and they brought in Steve Kerr, who was able to come in and absolutely put in a system that made that team go from a decent playoff team to a championship level team. You see, what the national nerds miss is that it is a process. And yes, I agree. We're at a crossroads here with Roquan Smith. But here's the thing. Moving Roquan Smith for absolutely nothing does nothing for you. And there's not that many teams that are going to look at what Roquan Smith is bringing outside of the play right now on the field and say, I want to deal with that. Roquan Smith has somebody calling around looking to see what his value is around the NFL. Then he's negotiating his deal and being difficult about it. I'm not saying that these aren't things that teams aren't going to work through, but again, I'm not moving Roquan Smith for nothing. Let's be intelligent fans here. The comparison of Joe Burrow, the comparison that, oh, well, the Bengals did whatever Joe Burrow asked. And you know what that did for him? Yes, it did get him to a Super Bowl. It also got him sacked 9 times. It's also the reason why he lost that Super Bowl, because he had no offensive line play. Is it a better place to be starting from? For sure. Would I have rather seen my team in the Super Bowl? For sure. I'll agree with you there. But let's not act like that is the norm in the NFL. That's what we call an anomaly. How many teams make it to the NFL Super Bowl without offensive tackles? Speaking without the knowledge, we've never had a great quarterback. Why? Jay Cutler was a pretty freaking good quarterback. Was his decision-making always there? He had his ups and downs. Did he have a receiving core? Absolutely did. What did Jay Cutler not have? Let's think about this. Let's be intelligent, football fans. You see, that's the whole point of the breeze. That's the whole point of getting on here and talking sports. Becoming intelligent, football fans. Like the video if you agree. You see, I'm all for you wanting to move on from Roquan Smith, but is a draft pick going to make you a better football team? And by the way, if we're going to say that no great linebacker or no great defensive player is what will win you Super Bowls, is that really the standing point that we're arguing on? Because you know all those football teams that you named that won Super Bowls? I'm sorry, who won the Super Bowl last year? Was that one of the best defenses in the NFL that won that? Was that Aaron Donald getting home that won that? I'm fine. I'm fine with us building an offense. I'm all on board with it. I agree with you. The Chicago Bears absolutely need to do a better job of putting an offense together. By the way, like the video if you guys are in here. I agree with you that the Chicago Bears need to do a better job of putting an offense together. I agree with you that the Chicago Bears need to do more offensively on this team, but it's a process. And guess what? You can't just forget about the defense. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. How did he do that? Was that offense alone? Was he just slinging that pill? Or was that the fact that that defense was one of the most dominant defenses in the NFL? Was that a piece? Was that a help? You see, it's not an antiquated thought that defense wins championships. I would, in fact, challenge you to name me probably, 5 teams that have won a Super Bowl on offense alone. So when I come in here and I pull up Twitter and I hear, hey, listen, you guys are at a crossroads because you have this antiquated thought that defense is going to win. It's not antiquated. I agree with you. We need to help Justin Fields. I agree with you. The offensive line has to be better. But you know what? Guess why I know you're not paying attention? Because the moves that Ryan Poles made this season, while they are not the flashy moves, are what? The trenches. You see, you didn't bring up how Braxton Jones, a rookie drafted in the 5th round, looks really, really good. You didn't bring that up in your little assessment of what the offense was. You didn't bring up how adding Michael Schofield into the mix, a guy who gave up 1 sack last season, is a good move for the Chicago Bears. You didn't bring that up in your little assessment. If you're not paying attention, leave my teams alone. If you're not paying attention to my city, leave my teams alone, because I will absolutely come on here and come up with a million reasons why your argument's invalid. Now, listen, I'm okay with you saying trade Roquan Smith. I really am. But all you said was, I hear there's interest that the Cowboys want him. What interest? What player are we getting? What picks are we getting? What are we making a move for? You see, you also don't mention the fact that it's year 1 of this system. And again, the Bears didn't go out and make the flashy move. They didn't go out and get a star wide receiver. But they got one. What did he say? I believe he said there was only one weapon on that team that Justin Fields has to throw to. Are we done building this team? Does the team end tomorrow? How do you build a football team? Championship teams, where are they usually best at? You seen a championship team with a poor offensive line? And on top of that, I've seen championship teams that had a focal point wide receiver. I'm not saying that the Bears are going to the Super Bowl this season, but I've seen championship teams that had one guy that we talk about as a wide receiver. I've seen championship teams that are built around one main offensive player. You sing the praises of the MVP of the league. How many wide receivers did he have last season? I get it. He's Aaron Rodgers. He's great. But come on, dog. Let's be logical football fans here. Is trading Roquan Smith going to fix any piece of my line? Because the point that he misses is that going into next season, the Bears have the most money in the NFL. Going into next season, the Bears have their full slate of picks. Going into next season, the Bears can reshape this offense and or defense in any way that they so please. What he doesn't mention in his Warriors analogy is continuity. What he doesn't mention in his Warriors analogy is the time it took to build that team. The Warriors weren't built overnight, Colin. The Warriors didn't just wake up one morning and say, you know what? I think we're going to win a championship this season. The Warriors had, 5 years of Mark Jackson, I believe? Four or five, something like that, where he couldn't get the job done. You see, championship takes time. Championship doesn't happen overnight. Your LA Rams, how long did it take them to win? How long did it take them to win that Super Bowl? They've been to 2. How long did it take them to get the job done, though? Aaron Donald's been there his whole career. You know why? Because winning Super Bowls is hard. And they had the offensive pieces. You need the offense. I agree with you. But let's not act like there's this plethora of teams on the defense that are just Joe Schmoing it through Super Bowls. I can name you, 4 of Tom Brady's rings that are won because of that defense. Heck, that final ring or that last ring with him and the Patriots? Is that his last ring? Yeah, last ring. Coming back 27-3. We always focus on the 27, right? We don't focus on the fact that that defense gave up 3 points in the second half to an Atlanta offense that was rolling. That's my rant, man. I got to get ready for the Chicago Sky Call. It just irritates me when mugs try to come at my city and they're not paying attention to what's happening in my city. You national nerds aren't paying attention to what the Chicago Bears are doing, and you don't give credit to what the Chicago Bears are doing. I understand there's no reason for you to focus on the Chicago Bears, but then you come with a hardline point to say that these are the reasons why you should move on from this guy. I've been the main one saying I'm not worried about moving on from Roquan Smith. You know why? Because if we move on from Roquan Smith, guess what? I can find another linebacker. It's the Chicago Bears. This is all built on defense right here. But let's not act like we can't name great linebackers that have won Super Bowls. The Bears have never had a great wide receiver. You know what the Bears have never really had? A great left tackle. Which, again, shows me you're not focusing. You want to know how I know the offensive line is more important? Because even after last season, making it to the Super Bowl, did they go get Joe Burrow new weapons? No. They went and got him offensive linemen because they hope he doesn't get killed. Leave my team alone, dog. Stop playing with me. And also, right, like shout out to G Station. Who we signing? Who we going to get? Oh, and by the way, here's the thing, right? All these wide receivers that the Bears could have went and got. What if they don't pan out? What if Velus Jones shows you Thursday, tomorrow, that he can play? What if Velus Jones shows you Thursday that he can play? Then what? Did Ryan Poles do his job? If Velus Jones is cooking the Seattle Seahawks defense, did Ryan Poles do his job? We're in week 2 of preseason, and you're acting like we're in week 16, and there's nothing that can be done. Worry about your own little teams over there. We got Chicago covered. Or at least if you're going to pay attention to Chicago, pay attention to what's actually happening in the city. That's my rant for the day, man. I'm out of here. Stop playing with me. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. I'll be live. I'll be live in a little bit for the Chicago Sky versus New York Liberty playoff game. My blood pressure high now. Good Lord. I'm tired of these mugs, dog. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer. Got another Bears video on the channel if you guys haven't seen it yet. Talking about 3 key players to check out. So check that out on the channel as well, man. Here go Don Bird jumping in late. It's all right, Don Bird. It's over. We missed you. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.